Unsyndicated presents Shep and Sean, featuring Matt Shepard and Sean Baligian.
He's Shep, I'm Sean. Shep, every now and again, we don't really need the reminder, but we're reminded anyway how powerful the shield is, okay? Because here we have baseball getting ready to start. And of course, the Tigers have a pitching staff where I think right now the over-under is 19 wins apiece on each of their starters. It's
going to be arguably the best starting staff. I mean, if you talk to Justin Turner, Seattle right now has the best starting staff maybe in the history of the game. His words, not mine.
Yes.
Forget Verlander and Scherzer and Sanchez and stuff. Forget that. Forget Maddox and Smoltz and Glavine and Charlie Leibrandt. No. This year's Tigers and this year's Seattle Mariners team. That's it, Sean, for sure.
Yeah. Well, that old Orioles staff is just
Dave McNally and Jim Palmer and those guys only each won 20 games. Mike Cuellar.
Knock it off. This is nothing. Absolutely nothing. You have the shenanigans of Michigan State. We will get into that, I promise you. But you know what? The bully, he came back from like vacation. His family was on a vacation. He must have been breaking rocks or something because that's what, bullies do. And he decided to come back and take control of the sporting world again. And here we are, Shep, on March 10th. And the NFL is front and center in everybody's mind. It's
been that way for all weekend, Sean.
Yeah,
all weekend long, And if you think about it, over the last couple of weeks, Myles Garrett, damn it, I don't want to go through another rebuild. Oh, you're going to give me $40 million? Oh, okay, that's fine. Josh Allen, I got 4 years left on my deal. It's all right. I want to give you $330 million, $250 million guaranteed. DK Metcalf, I want to go someplace where someone's going to throw me the ball, man. I'm going to Pittsburgh and I'm going to sign an extra deal. Okay, that's the way we're going. Come on. I mean, it's constant, right? I mean, it's a Max Crosby. I want to play for a winner. I'm tired of not playing for any meaningful games. 6 years in the NFL. Oh, you're going to make me the highest paid player? A non-quarterback player? Okay, I'll sign the contract and stay in Las Vegas. Sure.
Yep. You know what? And honestly, it's people are mad. People are mad at Myles Garrett. I think Myles Garrett was brilliant. He played everybody. He used leverage. It didn't exist, Shep. Good for him. And he said all the right words. I had a blast here. I want to go someplace and win. He is never, ever going to win in Cleveland. That franchise is in such a bad spot.
That's not fair. They just traded for Kenny Pickett, dude. So knock it off.
That Deshaun Watson contract, like honestly, it might be the worst contract in the history of sports, and I hate overstatements. I hate overstatements. That might be the worst contract in the history of the NFL and sports. And this is a team, Shep, seriously, that is going to be so bad for so long. Good for Myles. Go get your bag. I'm not complaining. You played everybody. Well played.
Yeah, the Mets still paying Bobby Bonilla for another 10 years or so.
The Bobby Bo.
Probably up there. But you're right. I'll bite. I think you're probably pretty close to that, considering the production or the lack thereof. I don't know if
I think he had more happy endings than touchdowns. I really do. If we added it up, I think a lot of the masseuses in the Cleveland area delivered more.
Justin Tucker would argue. Here's my question: did he play people, or could he not say no? You and I have talked about this for years. When players are in their prime, they're going for the money, and I get it. If I'm in the NFL, knowing the shelf life, I would understand that too. Okay, because their contracts are not guaranteed. Money up front to a certain extent. For example, Josh Allen signs the 4-year extension, $330 million. It's $250 guaranteed. Okay, but if they choose to cut him after a certain amount of time, they own the $250. There is still an extra, $80 million out there that Buffalo can use. So I understand that, but there's going to come a point in time in his career where he's going to say, you know what, I'm going to chase that ring because I'm not winning it here because Deshaun Watson and Kenny Pickett are vying for starting quarterback gig. I think that's, when that comes, who knows? He's 29 years old. Good for him. He's a hell of a player. I wonder what it means for Aiden Hutchinson, Sean, because that's a lot of money. It's a premier position. It's a lot of money, dude. And the Lions, even though they've got cap space, wow, they've got other guys that they got to look down the road on who they're going to. Laporta, Gibbs, Branch, Campbell. Not going to keep the entire band together, buddy.
Yep, no doubt. Shep, you know the funny thing about it, it's almost like the quarterback thing. Remember a few years ago when people lost their mind when Matthew Stafford became the highest paid quarterback for like, what was it, 3 months or something? It's really quite simple. It's when Derek Carr walks into a room and sets the quarterback market, Matthew Stafford's agents sit there and go like this, because they know they can just walk in and go, you want to do a compare and contrast with Derek Carr?
Right.
So Matthew Stafford does that, and 3 months later, Aaron Rodgers' agents are sitting like that and going, you want to do a compare and contrast with Matthew Stafford? That's how the market is set. And you are absolutely right. I hope people realize this. Yes, he's a divine child guy. Yes, he's a Michigan guy. All of that stuff. You know what? He would be doing a disservice to himself if he didn't go out there and reset the market. It's going to get very, very interesting.
Well, what's the cap on the market then? I remember our friend, your friend of mine, Rob Rubik, told me he used to negotiate his own deals.
Mm-hmm.
He was a backup tight end 7 years, but he said he would go in to Chuck Schmidt and he would say, "Here's who the highest tight end is making. Here's who the lowest tight end is making. My numbers are equivalent to about this guy right here. He's making this. I think I'm owed somewhere in that neighborhood." They had a pretty good idea of it. Cannot relate to the Myles Garrett and the Max Crosby. Hey, TJ Watt, if you're TJ Watt and you're in his camp, what are you saying right now? Trey Hendrickson's got another year left on his deal. What is he saying to the Cincinnati Bengals? He's had 17 and a half sacks in each of the last 2 years, led the league last year, was second to TJ Watt 2 years ago. TJ Watt should be saying, you know what? I should have won Defensive Player of the Year 2 years ago instead of Myles Garrett. And he would have had a legitimate beef. He had 19 sacks that year to pace all defensive ends and all defensive players. So you're right. But at some point, it's got to top out, Sean. It has to, because you've got too many players out. Unless something happens where they expand the cap or do something, then they do that just about every year. Something's got to give, dude. Something's got to give.
Absolutely. Get to some of your comments in a second. First, let's talk to you about the Wealth Advantage Group. If you are ready to take charge of your financial future, look no further than the Wealth Advantage Group, owned by those two cats right there and located in historic downtown Northville. Those brothers.
Cats. Okay,
Mike
cats.
Husak, Jeff Husak, they're good cats with over 20 years of industry experience. They understand that your financial goals are as unique as you are and your litter box. That's why they offer personalized expert guidance to help you navigate the complexities of financial planning. Now, if you're saving for retirement, you're getting ready to sell your company, you're already in retirement, they can help guide you through every step of your financial journey. They work with clients throughout all stages of life and have clients in over 20 different states. The investment world is a complex one, so if you're ready to start taking your finances more seriously, it might be time to work with the experts. Reach out to my friends at the Wealth Advantage Group at 248-773-8574. Check out their website at www.thewealthadv.com. Shep and Sean, what's up? From Eric, good evening, guys. From Tom in London. Cole Dunn in New York. What a dagger for them. My goodness gracious. As we've talked about, Brian Cashman hasn't been real good with his starting pitchers, and he just lost a damn good one. That is unbelievable.
You don't make that up, Sean. I mean, that is not something that you just say, okay. Last year, what do you have? 17 starts, 8 wins, something like that 2 years ago. He leads the league in pitchers in WAR, I think, and he leads the league in ERA. Usually now, a workhorse, previous 2 years, over 200 innings. Not that that's, Bob Gibson-esque or Mickey Lolich-esque, but it's hard to find those guys. I've said this for a long time, and I truly believe it. Kirk Gibson used to bring this up as we got ready for our broadcast. There's a couple of statistics that usually, not every single time, because nothing is always and nevers, but there's usually a couple of statistics in baseball you want to follow. Number of innings pitched by starting pitchers. All right. Tigers had the fewest a year ago, by far the fewest.
Well,
And
we don't know what's going to change this year with that staff, but go on.
I mean, come on. And then team wins above replacement, team WAR.
Mm-hmm.
Got to be somewhere in the neighborhood of, you'd like to be 35-ish. Detroit was 19 a year ago. Those numbers, if they go up, you watch, it's uncanny, especially the WAR. Best teams, look at the team WAR. They're all right there. Those are all the playoff teams. Detroit was a little bit of an outsider left. So it's tough to make that up. You lose Garrett Cole. They've already lost Juan Soto. They got guys who are aging. You need pitchers, obviously. You're going to have, 11 starters to start at some point during the year? That's just the way it is.
Yep. Might have to let Hutch go. Is DJ Reed a top 10 cornerback? Jason said, evening from the UP friends. Beautiful Escanaba. I know that's where your thing is. Yeah, that's where he's at. Shep, what do you think about what the Lions did? You and I talked about Derek Barnes a couple months ago. I think it's a good fit. I understand nobody's going to lose. Nobody's going to lose sleep if you re-sign him. Nobody's going to lose sleep if you let him go. I think he's a fit. There's nothing wrong with that. Marcus Davenport. Again, these contracts. People don't understand these contracts, Shep. It's a low risk, potential high reward. I hope they make every one of their opportunities to make money because that means they did well. And then, of course, DJ Reed. Carlton Davis wanted $20 million a year. He got $20 million a year. Lions get DJ Reed. According to PFF, if you follow this type of stuff, DJ Reed was a better cornerback last year, and he's cheaper, so I'm not going to complain too much about that.
Had a better pass rating against than Sauce Gardner.
Yeah.
Gave up one touchdown, and that's it. So, look, I'm not going to try and break down DJ Reed because I'm watching the Lions and I'm watching other games. How many times are you focusing on the number, quote unquote, 2 corner and the Jets cornerback room? But from all readings and everything, you look at PFF and those numbers, damn well Brad Holmes has done it again.
Yep.
I'm not a big fan of the Marcus Davenport signing, but to your point, low risk, high reward. Can make an extra $300,000 if he performs well. I like contracts like that. I think it's a $1.35 million deal, so not a huge deal. They better draft somebody though. They better draft somebody at that position, and they better take them rather highly if indeed they are high on their board. So I'm all for that. And when somebody says may have to let Hutch go, I don't think you do that. I don't think you get rid of elite pass rushers. There are a certain number of guys who are in that realm. Max Crosby's in the realm. TJ Watt's in the realm. Nick Bosa's in the realm. Hendrickson, Garrett, and Hutchinson is in that same conversation. I'm sorry, man. He had 7.5 sacks last year, the same as Max Crosby. And Max Crosby played, I think, a half dozen games more than he did. He had the same number of sacks as Khalil Mack. He finished with 7.5. And Khalil Mack is back on a 1-year, $18 million deal with the Chargers. So, look, if you're going to pay guys, and you have to, certain elite players, I think you're paying a guy like Aiden Hutchinson, don't you?
This is a big year for him. I mean, look, whether anybody wants to admit it or not, you are talking about a leg that is shattered a couple different times. You know what I mean? And that's the kind of stuff that gets brought up in a bargaining room. Shep, I agree with you. I think there are multiple rookie contracts that can be had with one of the first 2 picks in the top 60. I do. I think you could get a nice DL. You could get a nice edge. I think there are a few edge options without geeking out for it. So I don't think it's necessary to maybe just say, all right, let's start planning without them. But you could get some guys on a nice rookie contract to help that along over the next couple years. Here's a great question. Why doesn't Trevor Bauer get a contract?
It's a great question.
Do you think he's been freezed out, Shep?
It sure seems like it, doesn't it?
I agree.
And it's borderline criminal because of what was said and what should have been retracted. He won a lawsuit against Major League Baseball, right?
Yep.
It's you prevented a man from his living, and he's already lost his prime years in his career. I'm surprised no one's taken a chance on him. I haven't followed his career in Japan. I don't know how much worse he's gotten or how much better he's gotten. Maybe people have scouted them. I just don't know the answer to this. Maybe people have scouted him and just haven't seen what they need to see in order for them to sign him. I just find it hard to believe that you're willing to go out and you take a chance on certain guys after a number of surgeries, or guys will contemplate retirement, Alex Cobb, and sign a deal, and you wouldn't consider a guy like Trevor Bauer.
He's only 34 years old. Like kick the tires. I'm a huge kick the tire guy, Shep. I'm serious. I'm a huge kick the tire guy. You bring in anybody, take a look at him. It makes me think that there's a freeze out there. Steve, Wings Tigers on Fox 2 just brings back memories from when I was young to see sports on antenna TV. Shep, you remember Sunday was the best, okay? Because kids at one point in time, there was called a blackout. Right. And we couldn't watch the Lions. The Lions were not on. It wasn't Fox 2, CBS 2. They were not on because they didn't sell out the game. So I would go in the front room and my dad would go, move the antenna. You're dumb. Move it this way. You're dumb. Boy, are you dumb. Move it this way. And if I moved it slightly, then I might be able to get in channel 11 and watch the Cleveland Browns game. But then if I moved it slightly the other way, I might be able to get channel 13 and watch the Bengals game. And that's how we operated.
Did you have aluminum foil on those rabbit ears?
Absolutely. Are you kidding me?
Had to.
Oh my gosh. And then I made some Jiffy Pop. A lot of times I'd make that Jiffy Pop and I'd grab that aluminum foil and wrap it around those ears.
The bowl and the handle were right there for you.
Absolutely. Hey, let's talk about legacy partners. Did you know thousands of Metro Detroiters like me and my family have already called legacy partners to get help with their home and auto insurance? Our friends at Legacy are one of Southeast Michigan's top independent insurance agents. They provide a full-service, one-stop solution for all of your insurance needs, personal and business, large and small. Legacy has helped our listeners by fixing mistakes other agents have made, asking the right question to get the right coverage put in place to properly protect you. And yep, help save you some money. Don't we all want to do a little bit more of that today? Chances are, if you haven't checked your policies in the last year, you're probably paying too much and you could be underinsured. What are you waiting for? Give Legacy a chance to help with your home, your cars, life insurance, Medicare enrollment, or your business insurance needs. Call them today, 586-209-4106, or visit legacypartnersins.com to get started with your new quotes. Tim said, don't forget channel 42 in Canada, channel 54 in Canada as well. Jason said, Reed wants to come here. Davis didn't want to stay here. Welcome to the D, Mr. Reed. That's Holmes man.
Let's be careful there, okay? Carlton Davis took less money to stay in Tampa so he could possibly win a Super Bowl. He gets traded to Detroit. He's not going to take less money. Could you really blame him? Let's be careful on the word stay. Money speaks loudly, doesn't it? Myles Garrett, we just got done talking about it. Myles Garrett said, I want out. Now he's staying because of the money. The reason DJ Reed signed to Detroit is because of the money. Okay? That's first and foremost. Sure, it helps to go to a really good team. Carlton Davis, a guy who is going to New England, I don't think they're going to be a good team. But he's going to be paired up with, Harold Landry, who just signed there. Mike Vrabel's a good coach and a good defensive coach. I'm not saying that they're going to turn things around, but he's chasing money because he didn't get a chance to get the big money the last time. How do you blame him for that?
Yeah.
If we're gonna say, I get it, a good job by Myles Garrett for playing the system. Didn't Carlton Davis play the system?
I am never going to begrudge somebody for doing what they feel is best for them, man. It's not me. It's not. Now, I'm well within my right to say, I don't know if that's the best move or whatever, but I don't know what's going on in their lives. Shep, I remember the big rumors. I'll use is something near and dear to your heart. Remember the big rumor about Tom Izzo and the Cleveland Cavaliers going back 13, 14 years ago. And then John Beeline went and did it. Good for you. Like, I'm serious. Good for you. Go get that bag. Not only is the rest of your life taken care of, your children's lives are taken care of, and most likely your grandchildren's lives are taken care of. Good for you. I'm not going to get angry at you for doing stuff like that, man.
Yeah, Sean, it's one of those things where we kind of insert ourselves into other people's situation, even though we don't have experience in it. I'll give you another example. You mentioned Beeline, a really good example. I talked to him a lot before he made that decision. As a matter of fact, Terry Mills and I both said to him, the NBA is not for you, coach. He wanted the challenge. And how do you say no to the amount of money that they were offering? Right.
Can't.
I mean, that's a really difficult thing to do. Now, Tom Izzo was able to do it. Good for him. Maybe he was more satisfied with what's going on, and he was more established where he felt like, I don't have to do a lot of things to fulfill what I wanted. Right. John Beeline didn't win the national championship. Tom Izzo did. But there are other times where we're telling people what to do and not to do. And Tua Tagovailoa is a good example. Retire, man. Just retire. He chose to stay. And he ended up playing a little bit. And then at the end of the year, got hurt in a different way. The Michigan State game yesterday. You can't do that. You can't do this. Well, you know what? Emotions get the best of all of us at times. Rivalries, disdain for one another gets the best of you. Ignorance, pig-headedness, all get the best of us. How do I know how to react? How do I know I wouldn't have done the same thing Trey Holloman did? How do I know I wouldn't have done getting so pissed off by getting trucked by double digits in Ann Arbor, trucked by double digits in Michigan State, never being close to the Spartans on Sunday? How do I know I would have been, you know what, I've had enough of this. Screw you, and I'm going to stand there anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. There's a part of me that loves it from both ends. It shows Trey Holloman's love for his school, and it shows the Michigan hate for Michigan State. Good. I want those two programs to dislike one another. It's healthy rivalries. Sean, I would ask you this question. How many rivalries, let's just go by sport. How many rivalries are there in the National Football League?
Anymore? Not that many anymore,
Okay.
Shep. There really aren't. I mean, a lot of the Raiders and Chiefs come to mind. I think that's one that comes to Packers, Bears still comes to mind. But
Steelers, maybe. Okay.
Dallas,
Maybe.
Philly, Dallas, Washington, maybe, whatever.
Okay. We might be pushing a little bit. How many rivalries in the NBA? People say Boston and LA. They play twice during the regular season. Okay.
Sorry.
It's all media driven. Baseball, Yankees and Red Sox. Okay, I'll buy it. It's shoved down our throat on a regular basis. San Francisco, LA, St. Louis, the Cubs. It's about it. You want rivalries in sports. Michigan State has owned the rivalry. It's okay to admit it. They have. Maybe Michigan gets a little bit of an attitude, even though many people feel like you have no right to do it. Go ahead and do it if you want to.
I don't have a problem with it.
I'll
tell you what I have a problem with, Shep. You know what I have a problem with? I have a problem with Dusty May sitting there and saying, well, I didn't know after the game. Stop it. That's what I have a problem with.
I said the same thing.
That's it, Shep. That's it. That's it. Don't and by the way, as you know, and you know how that athletic department works as well as anybody, a certain somebody standing over his shoulder going, no, don't say that. I did tell you that.
Right.
Don't you say that. I did tell you that. If you're going to do it, do it. I don't have a stick the chest out.
Own it.
Yep. Own it. It's okay. Like, this isn't, Shep. Like, I don't want to see guys swinging helmets in a tunnel. Okay.
Agreed.
That's something different. Okay. You could hurt a guy. But
if you fight in the tunnel, if your emotions take you as fisticuffs, look, if you're going to celebrate and Fox is going to put a promo of David Boston and Charles Woodson literally fighting one another.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If the NFL is going to make all these videotapes of Jack Lambert and Dick Butkus ripping guys' heads off, don't sit there and step in a situation that makes you go, sorry, this is too rough for us. It was like, the game yesterday. Somebody was mad about the hard foul on Vlad Golden. I said, good for him. That's the foul you're supposed to take. You're supposed to go across his arm so he can't get an and one. And then you're going to call a foul on Vlad Golden because he shoved a guy? Give me a break, man.
I don't have a problem with it.
Like I want the physicality. I want the passion. I want the disdain for one another. It's good for rivalries, and it's lacking in sports right now.
Shep, one of the funniest things, you just brought something up to my head, talking about like the hypocrisy of some of these leagues. Back in the day, remember you used to get those NFL VHS tapes, buy a giant roll of toilet paper, get NFL's hardest hits, right? And I remember I had one of those videotapes.
I need that toilet paper, by the way. Go ahead.
It was outstanding. But listen, they literally did a whole series. Do you remember on Bounty Bowl? Do you remember the Bounty Bowl between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys? Where Buddy Ryan put out bounties on a bunch of the Cowboys, including their own former kicker, who now kicked for Dallas. And giggle, look at them chasing this little kicker around, okay? How things change in 20 years. Sean Payton and the New Orleans Saints were fined $1 gazillion and suspended 5 million games for allegedly doing a bounty type of thing. And I like Dusty May, welcome to the rivalry. Yeah. It's fantastic. I think it's going to be fun. I wish you all the luck in the world. I hope you never, ever beat Michigan State. I'm telling you right now. But good luck. And quite frankly, I respect you and I fear you, okay? But boy, when you sit there and if he went with the smug, my guys aren't allowed to stand at center court during a free throw, that becomes funny, okay? But when you follow that up with, I didn't know there was if only people had made documentaries about that tradition or something, Shep. Like, that's where Dusty was like, dude, I was with you until that point. I really...
And it's not in the documentaries. I don't expect him to watch Michigan State documentaries, and he said that as much. But he is told, those coaches are informed by their good communications people about what happens, all right? And usually there is an itinerary that every coach gets. They don't always scan it and make sure they memorize it, but they know what's happening. It's pretty well known, right? We can debate on whether or not those guys should have been standing there. Had no problem with Fiddler going there and kissing the logo. I did a show with Mateen Cleaves on Sunday, and he said, look, when I did it, there was a guy right there when I went and kissed the middle of the court, and he said, what's up, fella? And he patted him on the ass, and he went down, kissed the logo, and got up and left. I was talking to my wife about it. She's like, it's such bush that Michigan did that. I can't believe it's not classy at all. I said, they don't like one another.
Mm-hmm.
Who cares?
Eric said maybe he didn't know. Possibly he didn't know. Sorry to interrupt you, Shep. Eric, he knew. Somebody from his own staff corrected him right away. And you know who corrected him too, Shep. Yeah. He knew. That's where he lost me. It was all fun and then you... Now you want to play that role? Play it all the way. I'd have more respect for you if you played it all the way, right? When you do that, Shep, pardon my language, I think you're pussing out. I do. I think you're pussing out at that point in time.
Yeah, and then of course you know how it's going to work. Michigan State fans think it's Bush League. Michigan fans would say, stop being so soft. Again, that battle between the two fan bases, I think, is good and can be extremely healthy.
It's great. Not an NBA guy, but Charles Barkley ripping on ESPN's coverage of the NBA. Who will be his employer next year was Chef's Kiss. That's funny.
Well, let me ask you this. What did he say? Because I missed that.
Jason, can you give me the cliff notes of that? How's that? I would like the cliff notes because I heard about it. I didn't hear it myself. Shep, in the meantime, I'll tell you about Lindsey Broadwell. When it comes time to getting yourself a new house, whether you're buying or selling, oftentimes both, you need to contact the right agent. Who do I recommend? Well, there she is, Lindsey Broadwell. Your house is probably the biggest investment you'll ever make, and that's why you need a pro. Lindsay grew up on the mean streets of Northville and has expanded her team all over Southeast Michigan. She's an expert in all facets of the business. When it's time to move, our friend Lindsay and her team will make sure you get the most out of your house and everything goes smoothly when finding your new home. Buyer, seller, even first-time buyer, doesn't matter. Just make sure you contact Lindsay at BroadwellHomes.com. She'll help you with everything from start to close. Licensed realtor at Real Broker LLC. Start your search today at BroadwellHomes.com. Austin said, Chuck said if you average 5 points a game, he doesn't give a shit about what you have to say. All right, good. Shep, I really felt like Steve Yzerman was trolling people over the weekend, and I'm not going to lie. I really did. I'm very understanding of the position that Steve Yzerman took over. I'm very understanding of how long it's going to take. If Steve came out and said, there were some moves we wanted to make, we just couldn't make them, that would be one thing. But I think for him to come out and say, we made moves that we felt would put our team in the best possible position to make the playoffs. I know a lot of fans that when he dropped that statement, because I was with a bunch of them at a hockey arena, that lost their collective minds. Because now let me try to reverse this. Hey, guys, you know what this team's missing right now? I'll tell you what we're missing. You want to make a play for Marshawn? No. You want to make a play for Brock Nelson? No. We need Craig Smith and Peter Mrazek. That's it. It's over. We are playoff bound, bitches. Stevie, I can't get your back at that point in time. I will try to explain to people until I'm blue in the face, Shep, that this is a process. I understand it.
People are tired of the process. It's 6 years. It's 6 years. And let's face it, we've seen it over the last 2 years where they've been in a position, they've taken themselves out. Many people feel, you would disagree, I'm sure, that you needed at least one more piece to the proverbial puzzle. Did you really need a fourth line center?
You got two this year, Shep.
Did you really need a guy who in 3 of the last 4 years had a save percentage of under 90 and, is one of the, he's one of the worst goalies in the league? I mean, come on, he's not going to play. So I don't understand it. Look, I don't have a problem losing Joe Veleno. Not at all. And Craig Smith, fine, a little piece. And I'm sure Steve Yzerman tried. He doesn't want to give up a lot of his really talented young core. Okay, that's fine. And the farm system mid-season was ranked, depending on which website you look at, 5th in the National Hockey League. That's great. The Tigers have been ranked top 10 in farm systems in each of the last 4 years. Okay. I mean, I'm glad we're all fired up for the young guys. Let's see what happens when they get here. I'm not seeing it, man. I'm just not seeing it. And I think it's more disheartening than frustrating. It's more disheartening because not that you were expecting to trade for the equivalent of Austin Matthews, but you thought you'd have more than Craig Smith. That's all.
That's the I am fully in lockstep with a lot of the pieces that they have. And I'm not saying that every one of them are going to come out, but I can tell you, I have seen a lot of these guys play. I think that definitely in the next couple of years, this is going to be a complete different situation. I understand even that you don't want to give up some of these pieces. You don't want to give up ASP. You don't want to give up Casper. You don't want to give up guys that are here. I understand all of that. But I think when you use the term, and Coach Hunter was one of the guys that was with me when it came down, when you come out and you say something along the lines of, we did what we felt was best to put our team in a position to get into the playoffs this year, and then you present Craig Smith and Peter Mrazek, then you become a joke. And Steve Yzerman is no joke. I was really surprised that he said something along the lines of that. Shep, a guy that is more media savvy than a lot of other guys are. You just come out and say, guys, you know what? The asking price was too much. I am not going to give up a piece that we have developed for 2 or 3 years and we think can be a really darn good piece for a guy that might be here for 3 months.
And that's fine.
We aren't winning shit. You know what I mean?
That's fine. And I know he doesn't want to put too much pressure on young guys, and he doesn't want to put the proverbial cart before the horse. But if you're going to say pieces, you're going to say young guys, shouldn't he be a little bit more specific? Because we don't know how good Nate Danielson is. Mm-hmm. Tell us what you like about those guys and why you won't part with them. Give us an idea, please, because the first-round pick of Sebastian Kosa hasn't made it to the league. He can't beat out Alex Lyon. You're going to go trade for a guy like Peter Mrazek, who's got another year left on his deal. I mean, there are so many questions that are now opened up after those moves that make people go, the entire oxygen in your proverbial room is sucked right out of it because of what he did. Yep. What you would hope would be an addition with Craig Smith, who's playing some meaningful games and isn't afraid to go to the greasy areas and score some timely goals. Not a lot. He scored 20 goals or more 3 times in his career, but not a lot. It goes in one ear and out the next because of the other things that you said. And I truly believe it's because of Mrazek. The Craig Smith thing is one thing, but the Mrazek, I think, just makes everybody go, what the hell are we doing here? What's
I
going on?
want to be crystal clear. This isn't a shot against Craig Smith in particular, but to say to people we made the moves that we thought would best put our team in a position. Craig Smith and Peter Mrazek aren't it.
Yeah.
They aren't. Sorry, they aren't. When you're watching other teams do the arms race, and some teams stayed put. In Montreal in particular, who's right there with the Red Wings, just said, you know what? We are going to be sellers. We're going to sell off David Savard. These kids have played so well. Let's see what we can get. Let's see where we can go from here and things like that. So I'm not bashing them for not making the move. I think it was a poor choice of words to use to an already frustrated fan base.
Yeah,
and I empathize with the said fan base. I don't agree with a lot of the people. Fire Yzerman, start over. I'm not going down that road, but I empathize with you. You know what I'm saying? So,
Sean, it just goes to show you that how one first-round draft pick really can affect your team's demise years and years down the road.
Mm-hmm.
Do the right thing and take Quinn Hughes instead of Philip Zadina. You're not even worried about this situation.
Sorry, you're not. Thought process of Yzerman will only be making trades when they have a chance at winning the cup is maddening. What are we here for? Not every team can win the cup yet are fine with making trades. Listen, All About Catering LLC, full service caterer, graduations, weddings, bridal showers, corporate events, anything you need catering for from 25 to 4,000 people. All About Catering can and will take care of you. With Rick and his staff, customer service and satisfaction is their number one goal. So don't sweat your next big event. Just go to allaboutcateringllc.com today to see all their menus and all their 5-star reviews. Give them a call, 586-731-1398 to get your event started. Shep, you got a busy week. You got your show all week, and then you're doing the high school finals this weekend on FanDuel, correct?
Yeah, looking forward to it on Saturday, where I got Division I and Division 4 at Breslin Center. So that'll be interesting. It would have been fun to call a hockey game with you, but the prior commitment's getting away. Real quick question for you. Tim says, so like Kosa for one, either he's ready now or trade him. Stop it with the development excuse. I get tired of the development excuse as well. Goalies, I envision, are a lot like pitchers. It takes them longer. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I do wonder just a little bit, though, how long is long enough for people to allow a young player to develop? When do we start getting antsy? Because we seemingly want to give up on certain other young players. Case in point, Spencer Torkelson. Sorry, I'm done with him. Wait, but he's only in his third full season. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm tired. I want him gone. Okay. Sebastian Kosa, I mean, if he could help, you would guess that they would bring him up. I think the frustration from a lot of Red Wings fans, including yours truly, that if he is he not better than what they have right now? That's the question.
No, I'm with you. Shep, a very wise scout once told me, as long as you accept that no two players develop the same, your life is better. And I've gone with that. Shout out to the Jeffers Jets. I'm with you. What an incredible run. Little Jeffers, Shep, made it all the way to the Final Four in hockey. Just a great story, and they were a fun team to watch. Hey, pal, enjoy your weekend. Todd, thank you.
You too, buddy. You look good. Talk to you soon. Thanks,
God bless
Todd.
you. We'll see you. I'm going to dip. Bye.
Shep and Sean, featuring Matt Shepard and Sean Baligian. Executive produced by Sean Baligian and Todd Losey. Theme song, incidental music, and related sound effects are from Still Alive by Anti-Ghost. Engineering, mixing, and graphic design support provided by the Unsyndicated Podcast team. Don't forget to like and subscribe on all your favorite channels. While you're there, be sure to rate and review the podcast. Call the Unsyndicated hotline at 248-237-3257.